Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
The van shuddered violently, a sickening, lurching motion that threw me against the seatbelt. It was as if the old vehicle was taking its last, desperate breath. The dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree, every warning light blinking frantically before the engine emitted one final forlorn sputter and died. I slumped against the steering wheel, frustration and disbelief mingling into a potent mix. My van, my trusty, battered old van, had finally given up the ghost. I glanced around, trying to get my bearings. The road stretched out desolate and unwelcoming, flanked by fields and distant trees. I had no choice but to get out and see what I could do. As I stepped out into the late afternoon sun, the dry heat hit me and the distant hum of cicadas filled the air. I popped the hood, but the sight of the engine only deepened my despair. It was a mess of wires and parts that I had no hope of deciphering. Then I remembered the sign I'd passed a few miles back. Nathan's Auto Repair. It had read in peeling, faded letters. I had dismissed it at the time, but now it seemed like my only hope. I grabbed my phone and looked up the location, praying it was still open. To my relief, it was only a short walk away. Locking the van, I set off down the dusty road, every step kicking up small clouds of dust. The auto repair shop came into view. An old ramshackle building that looked like it had seen better days. The sign was barely legible, but it was definitely the place. I pushed open the creaky door, the bell above it jingling softly. Inside, the smell of oil and metal was overpowering. Tools hung from every surface, and the place was dimly lit, casting long shadows. A hulking figure emerged from the back, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. He was tall and broad-shouldered, with a face weathered by years of hard work. His gray hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and his eyes were a piercing blue. He didn't smile, just gave a curt nod. "Help you?" he asked, his voice a gravelly rumble. My van, I began, feeling suddenly self-conscious. It broke down a little ways back. "I think it's the battery, but I'm not sure. Can you help?" He grunted, tossing the rag onto a workbench. "Let's take a look." I led him back to my van, my mind racing with worries about how much this was going to cost. Nathan, as I assumed he was, didn't waste time. He popped the hood and leaned in, his hands moving with practiced ease. "Battery's dead, all right," he muttered. "But there's more to it. Alternator's shot too. You've got a drain somewhere, pulling power even when the engine's off." I bit my lip, my heart sinking. How much is this going to cost? He straightened up, wiping his hands again. "Depends. We can start with the battery and see where that gets us. You want a new one, or are you fine with a used one?" I hesitated. Money was tight, and a new battery would be expensive. "Used is fine," I said finally. He nodded. "All right. Follow me back to the shop. Got a few we can test." We walked back to his garage in silence, the only sound the crunch of gravel under our feet. Inside, Nathan rummaged through a pile of batteries, finally selecting one that looked slightly less ancient than the others. "Try this one," he said, handing it to me. "It should hold for a while." We returned to the van, and under his watchful eye, I helped him install the battery. It was hard, dirty work, but Nathan guided me through it with a surprising amount of patience. When we finally got the battery in place, I climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. The engine roared to life, and I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. "Thank you," I said, relief washing over me. "I don't know what I would have done without your help." Nathan shrugged, "Just doing my job. But this is a temporary fix. You need to get that alternator looked at, and soon." I nodded, biting my lip again. "I will. How much do I owe you?" He named a price, and while it wasn't cheap, it was fair. I handed over the cash, grateful that I had just enough to cover it. As I did, I found myself hesitating. "Nathan, right?" I asked. "Yeah. Do you ever need help around here?" I asked, the question surprising even me. "I mean, I don't know much about cars, but I'm good with my hands, and I could use some extra money." He looked at me for a long moment, his blue eyes unreadable. Then he nodded slowly. "Could use an extra pair of hands, sure, but you're going to have to learn fast." "I will," I promised, feeling a flicker of hope. He grunted again, a sound that might have been a laugh. "We'll see. Be here tomorrow morning, 7 sharp." And bring your own coffee. I don't share. I smiled, despite myself. Deal. See you then. As I drove away, the sun dipping below the horizon, I felt a strange sense of optimism. My van was running, I had a new job, and for the first time in a long time, I felt like things might just be looking up. Nathan was rough around the edges, but there was something about him that made me believe I could learn a lot from him. One step at a time, I told myself. One problem at a time, and maybe, just maybe, I could get my life back on track. I arrived at Nathan's auto repair shop just before 7 the next morning, the sky still tinged with the soft hues of dawn. The garage loomed ahead, a beacon of hope amidst my uncertainty. I parked my van off to the side and took a deep breath before stepping out. Today was the start of something new, and I was determined to make the most of it. Nathan was already there, predictably moving with the practiced efficiency of someone who had done this for years. He barely glanced up as I entered. "Morning," I called out, trying to sound more confident than I felt. He nodded curtly. "Morning. Coffee?" I held up my thermos. "Brought my own." He grunted approval. "Good. We start with an oil change. Ever done one?" I shook my head. "No, but I'm ready to learn." "Follow me," he said, leading me to a car already hoisted on the lift. "First, you need to drain the old oil. Get under there and find the drain plug." I slid under the car, the cold concrete pressing against my back. Nathan handed me a wrench, and I fumbled with it, my inexperience glaringly obvious. After a few minutes of struggling, I managed to loosen the plug. A stream of dark, viscous oil poured out, splashing into the pan beneath. "Good," Nathan said, a hint of approval in his voice. "Now the filter. You unscrew it like this." He demonstrated, and I watched intently before copying his actions. The morning continued in this manner, with Nathan guiding me through various tasks. We rotated tires, checked brake pads, and replaced air filters. Each job came with its own set of challenges, but Nathan's steady presence and gruff instructions kept me grounded. As we worked, we began to talk. It started with small things, Nathan asking about my van, me asking about the different tools. But as the day wore on, the conversations grew deeper. "So what got you into landscaping?" Nathan asked as we worked on a particularly stubborn engine. I shrugged, wiping sweat from my brow. "I've always loved plants. My mom had a garden and I used to help her. It just seemed natural to turn it into a career. Plus, there's something satisfying about creating something beautiful from nothing." Nathan nodded thoughtfully. "Makes sense. I got into this because my dad was a mechanic. He taught me everything I know. Didn't have much choice, really." "Do you enjoy it?" I asked, curious. He paused, considering. "Yeah, I do. There's a certain satisfaction in fixing things, making them run right. Guess it's similar to your plants in a way." We fell into a comfortable silence after that, the only sounds the clinking of tools and the hum of the fan. I found myself growing more confident with each task, Nathan's gruff guidance slowly molding me into someone who could hold her own in a garage. By lunchtime, we had tackled several repairs, and I was starting to feel the strain. Nathan handed me a sandwich, and we sat on a couple of overturned crates, eating in companionable silence. "Thanks for this," I said after a while, "for giving me a chance." Nathan shrugged. "You're learning fast. Besides, could use the help." I smiled, taking another bite of my sandwich. "I'm glad. I need the work, and it feels good to be doing something productive." He glanced at me, his expression unreadable. "You're not just doing something, you're learning a skill. Remember that." I nodded, feeling a swell of gratitude. Nathan might be rough around the edges, but he was teaching me more than just car repairs. He was showing me that I could handle more than I thought, that I could face challenges head-on and come out stronger on the other side. The afternoon brought a new set of challenges. A customer's car had an issue with the transmission, and Nathan walked me through the complicated process of diagnosing the problem. "Transmission's a tricky beast," he said, his head buried under the hood. "You mess this up, and it's gonna cost a fortune to fix." "No pressure," I muttered, earning a rare chuckle from Nathan. "Just take it slow," he advised. "Listen to the car. It'll tell you what's wrong if you know how to listen." His words struck a chord with me. I had always been more attuned to the natural world, to to the subtle signs and signals of plants. But here in the garage, I was learning a new kind of language, one spoken in the hum of engines and the click of gears. As the day wore on, the transmission problem gradually yielded to our combined efforts. By the time we finished, I was exhausted but triumphant. Nathan nodded in approval as we lowered the car from the lift. "Good work today," he said. "You're getting the hang of it." "Thanks," I replied, feeling a warm glow of pride. "Means a lot, coming from you." He just grunted, but I could see the faintest hint of a smile tugging at the corners of his mouth. As I gathered my things to leave, Nathan called out, "See you tomorrow?" "Absolutely," I replied without hesitation. Driving home that evening, I felt a sense of fulfillment I hadn't experienced in a long time. The day had been long and hard, but it had also been rewarding. I was learning new skills, gaining confidence, and forming a bond with Nathan, the grumpy mechanic with a heart of gold. In the days that followed, our routine continued. Each morning, I would arrive at the garage, coffee in hand, ready to learn, and each day, Nathan would teach me something new. Our conversations became more frequent, our silences more comfortable. Slowly but surely, we were becoming a team. One afternoon, as we were working on a particularly challenging repair, Nathan surprised me with a question. "You ever think about what you'd do if you weren't landscaping?" he asked, not looking up from the engine. I considered the question. "I'm not sure. I've always loved flowers and plants, but I guess I never really thought beyond that." He nodded, tightening a bolt. "Sometimes it's good to think about other possibilities. Keeps you open to new opportunities." His words stayed with me long after I left the garage that day. Nathan was right. There were other possibilities out there, and maybe, just maybe, I was ready to explore them. The morning sun cast long shadows as I pulled into Nathan's auto repair shop, a sense of determination filling me. It had been a few weeks since I first stumbled into this place, and each day had brought new challenges and triumphs. As I parked my van and walked inside, I felt a sense of purpose that had been missing from my life for far too long. Nathan was already at work, hunched over the hood of a car with his usual intensity. He barely looked up as I entered, but his grunt of acknowledgement was enough to let me know he was glad to see me. "Morning," I said, setting my coffee down on the workbench. "What's on the agenda today?" "Timing belt," he replied, wiping his hands on a greasy rag. "Customer's car needs a new one, and it's a job that requires precision. Think you're up for it?" I nodded, feeling a mixture of excitement and nerves. "Absolutely, just show me what to do." Nathan spent the next hour walking me through the process, his instructions clear and precise. I listened intently, absorbing every detail. Replacing a timing belt was a complex task, but with Nathan's guidance, I felt confident I could handle it. As I worked, I noticed how much more comfortable I had become in the garage. My hands moved with growing confidence, and I no longer hesitated when reaching for a tool. Nathan's patience and expertise had transformed me from a novice into someone who could hold her own in a mechanic's world. Halfway through the job, Nathan stepped back, allowing me to take the lead. "Your turn," he said, crossing his arms and watching closely. I took a deep breath and began to work, my fingers deftly maneuvering the belt into place. The task required precision and patience, and I was determined to get it right. As I tightened the last bolt, I glanced up at Nathan, seeking his approval. He nodded, a rare smile touching his lips. "Good job. You're getting the hang of this." "Thanks," I said, feeling a swell of pride. "It's all thanks to your teaching." "Teaching's only part of it," he replied. "You've got the drive and the determination. That's what makes the difference." His words resonated deeply, and I realized how much I had grown since that first day. I wasn't just learning about car repairs, I was learning about myself. I was discovering strengths I didn't know I had and building confidence with each passing day. As the weeks turned into months, my skills continued to improve. Nathan began to trust me with more complex tasks, and I relished the challenge. Each successful repair brought a sense of accomplishment, and I found myself looking forward to the next. One day, as we were working on a particularly stubborn engine, Nathan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You ever think about why you started this? Why you keep coming back?" I paused, considering his question. "I guess I started because I needed the money and the help with my van. But now it's more than that. I enjoy it. I like the challenge, the problem solving, and I like working with you." He nodded, seeming satisfied with my answer. "Good. Keep that fire, it'll take you far. Our conversations often veered into deeper territory as we worked. Nathan shared stories from his past, tales of his father teaching him the trade, and the struggles of running a small business in a world dominated by big chains. I, in turn, opened up about my dreams and fears, my struggles to make ends meet, and my aspirations beyond landscaping. One afternoon, as we were packing up for the day, Nathan handed me a worn notebook. "Here," he said gruffly, "start keeping notes. Sketches, ideas, anything that comes to mind. It's how you turn thoughts into plans." I took the notebook, feeling a lump in my throat. "Thanks, Nathan, I will." That evening, I sat at my kitchen table, the notebook open in front of me. I began to jot down ideas, sketches of potential business ventures and plans for the future. The act of putting pen to paper felt empowering, as if I was taking the first steps toward something bigger. Nathan and I continued to work side by side, our bond deepening with each shared triumph and challenge. I found myself taking more initiative, suggesting new methods and solutions, and Nathan's approval spurred me on. One day, as we were fixing a particularly troublesome engine, Nathan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. "You've got a knack for this," he said. "Ever think about going beyond just working here? Maybe starting something of your own?" His question caught me off guard, but as I considered it, I felt a spark of excitement. "I've thought about it," I admitted, "but I wouldn't know where to start." "Start with what you know," he advised, "and what you're passionate about. Combine the two, and you'll find your way." His words stayed with me long after I left the garage that day. That evening, I opened the notebook Nathan had given me and began to sketch out a plan. My love for plants and my newfound skills in car repair merged into an idea that felt both exciting and achievable. The next morning, I arrived at the garage with a renewed sense of purpose. Nathan noticed immediately. "You've got that look," he said, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "What's going on in that head of yours?" I hesitated for a moment before pulling out the notebook and showing him my sketches. "I've been thinking, what if we combined car repairs with something more? Like a mobile service that offers roadside assistance and flower deliveries." Nathan studied the sketches, his expression serious. "Interesting idea. Would take a lot of work and planning, but it's got potential." "I know it's a long shot," I said quickly, "but it feels right. Combining what I love with what I've learned here." He looked up, meeting my gaze. "I think it's a damn good idea, and I'll help you make it happen." The weight of his words hit me, filling me with gratitude and determination. "Thank you, Nathan. I won't let you down." "I know you won't," he replied gruffly. "Now, let's get to work. We've got a lot to do." As we dove back into the day's tasks, I felt a sense of clarity and purpose. The garage had become more than just a place of work. It was a place of growth, learning, and new beginnings. With Nathan's support and my own determination, I knew I could turn my dreams into reality. That evening, as I drove home, the sun setting in a blaze of orange and pink, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. I was no longer the woman whose van had broken down on a deserted road. I was someone who had found strength and confidence, someone who was ready to take on the world, one repair at a time. The days grew warmer as summer approached, and with each passing week, Nathan and I settled into a comfortable rhythm. Our routine had become almost sacred. Early mornings at the garage, greasy takeout lunches, and long hours spent tinkering with engines and sharing stories. The bond between us strengthened, evolving from a simple working relationship to something deeper, built on mutual respect and camaraderie. One Tuesday morning, I arrived at the garage to find Nathan already hard at work, his face illuminated by the soft glow of the garage lights. He was engrossed in fixing a classic Mustang, its hood propped open like the wings of a majestic bird. "Morning," I greeted him, setting my bag down and tying my hair back. "What's on the docket today?" "Morning, Lillian," he replied, glancing up with a nod. "Got a few jobs lined up. The Mustang needs a new carburetor, and there's a pickup truck coming in for a brake overhaul." I rolled up my sleeves, feeling a surge of excitement. "Sounds like a busy day. Let's get to it." We worked side by side, the hum of the radio playing softly in the background, filling the garage with old rock tunes. The Mustang's carburetor was a challenge, but under Nathan's watchful eye, I managed to install it without a hitch. Our partnership had grown seamless, with unspoken understanding and synchronized movements. As the hours passed, we fell into a rhythm of work and conversation. Nathan shared more about his past, stories of his father teaching him the trade, and the early days of running the garage. In turn, I opened up about my dreams and aspirations, my fears and hopes for the future. Ever think about where you'd be if your van hadn't broken down that day? Nathan asked during a lunch break, his voice contemplative. I looked up from my sandwich, pondering his question. Honestly, I don't know. Probably still struggling with landscaping, feeling stuck. But now, I feel like I'm on a path, like I have a direction. He nodded, a hint of a smile on his lips. Funny how life works. Sometimes it takes a breakdown to find your way. Our conversations often drifted into plans for the future. The idea of a mobile service combining roadside assistance and flower deliveries had taken root, and we discussed it with growing enthusiasm. Nathan's practical mind complemented my creative vision, and together we began to shape a plan. One afternoon, as we were closing up shop, Nathan turned to me with a thoughtful expression. You know, Lillian, I've been thinking about your idea. We should start small, test the waters before diving in headfirst. I nodded, eager to hear his thoughts. What do you have in mind? Let's set up a trial run, he suggested. We can use your van, outfit it with the necessary tools, and start offering basic roadside assistance. See how it goes. If it works, we can expand from there. His pragmatic approach made sense, and I felt a surge of excitement. That's a great idea. We could start by helping out friends and family, get some feedback, and build from there. Exactly, Nathan agreed. We'll need to make a few modifications to the van, get it equipped for the job. I'll handle the mechanical side and you can work on the organization and logistics. Over the next few weeks, we threw ourselves into the project with fervor. The van became our canvas, and each modification brought us closer to our goal. Nathan installed a fold-down workbench, added shelves for tools, and set up a small storage area for spare parts. I worked on branding, creating flyers and business cards, and reaching out to potential clients. Our collaboration extended beyond the garage, and we found ourselves spending evenings planning and brainstorming over cups of coffee at the local diner. Our partnership was fueled by a shared vision and a deepening friendship. As the trial run approached, our excitement grew. We scheduled our first few jobs, helping friends and family with basic roadside assistance and minor repairs. Each successful call boosted our confidence and word began to spread. One sunny Saturday, we received a call from a woman stranded on the side of the road with a flat tire. It was our first real test, and we were determined to succeed. We arrived at the scene, our van stocked and ready. Nathan took the lead, demonstrating how to change the tire, while I assisted and reassured the client. The woman was grateful, and her words of thanks filled me with a sense of accomplishment. You two make a great team, she said as we finished up. I'll definitely recommend you to my friends. As we drove back to the garage, Nathan turned to me with a grin. Looks like we're off to a good start. I nodded, feeling a surge of pride. It's just the beginning. We've got a long way to go, but I'm ready for it. Our ongoing collaboration had transformed us both. We had grown not only as individuals but as partners, each bringing our unique strengths to the table. The garage had become a place of growth and possibility, a testament to the power of hard work and shared vision. The garage felt alive with energy and purpose as Nathan and I embarked on our new venture. The air was filled with the mingling scents of motor oil and fresh flowers, a symbol of the unique business we were building together. Our trial run had been successful, and it was time to take the next step. The van, our trusty steed, had undergone a complete transformation. Nathan's modifications were perfect, turning it into a mobile repair unit while also accommodating space for flower deliveries. The fold-down workbench was stocked with essential tools, and the shelves held spare parts neatly organized. The back of the van was adorned with small but vibrant arrangements of flowers, adding a touch of color to the mechanical setup. One Monday morning, as the sun began to rise, Nathan and I stood outside the garage, admiring our handiwork. The van gleamed in the early light, a testament to our hard work and shared vision. We did good, Nathan said, a note of pride in his voice. This van is ready for anything. I nodded, feeling a swell of excitement. It's more than I ever imagined. I couldn't have done this without you, Nathan. He gave me a rare smile. We're a team, Lillian. Now let's get out there and show people what we can do. Our first official day as a mobile repair and flower delivery service was filled with anticipation. We had scheduled several jobs around town, starting with a call from Mrs. Hargrove, a sweet elderly lady who needed a jumpstart for her old sedan. As we pulled up to her house, Nathan and I exchanged a confident glance. We were ready. I hopped out of the van and greeted Mrs. Hargrove, who was standing on her porch, looking worried. "Good morning, Mrs. Hargrove. I'm Lillian, and this is Nathan. We're here to help with your car." "Oh, thank goodness," she said, her face relaxing into a smile. "I was so worried I'd be stuck here all day." Nathan opened the hood of the sedan and began assessing the situation. "It's just a dead battery," he diagnosed. "We'll have you up and running in no time." While Nathan worked on the car, I chatted with Mrs. Hargrove about our new business. She was fascinated by the idea of combining roadside assistance with flower deliveries, and mentioned how much she loved fresh flowers. I excused myself for a moment and returned to the van, selecting a small bouquet of daisies and lavender. "Here you go, Mrs. Hargrove," I said, presenting her with the flowers. "A little something to brighten your day." Her eyes lit up with delight. "Oh, these are lovely. Thank you so much, dear. You've made my day." Nathan finished jump-starting the car, and we waved goodbye to Mrs. Hargrove, feeling a sense of accomplishment. Our first job was a success, and the added touch of flowers had made it special. As the day progressed, we handled several more calls, changing a flat tire for a young mother on her way to work, fixing a faulty spark plug for an anxious college student, and delivering a bouquet of roses to a man celebrating his anniversary. Each interaction reinforced the value of our service, and the smiles we received were worth more than any paycheck. That evening, back at the garage, we sat on the workbench, recounting the events of the day. The radio played softly in the background, the familiar tunes creating a comforting atmosphere. "Nathan, today was incredible," I said, leaning back and stretching my tired muscles. "We helped so many people, and the flowers added a special touch." He nodded, his expression thoughtful. "It's a good start. We're making a difference, and that's what matters." I looked around the garage, now feeling like a second home. We've come a long way from that first repair. I never imagined we'd get this far. Nathan's gaze softened as he looked at me. "You've got vision, Lillian. You saw potential where others might not. This is just the beginning." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Word about our service spread quickly, and our client base grew. We established a routine, balancing repairs and flower deliveries seamlessly. Each day brought new challenges, but we faced them together, learning and adapting as we went. One sunny afternoon, as we were preparing for another round of calls, Nathan handed me a blueprint. "Take a look at this." I unfolded the paper, revealing detailed sketches and notes. "What is it?" "It's a plan for expanding our service," he explained. "I've been thinking about how we can streamline our operations and reach more people. This includes ideas for additional vans, more staff, and even a small workshop for bigger repairs." I studied the blueprint, feeling a surge of excitement. "Nathan, this is amazing. You've thought of everything." He shrugged, but I could see the pride in his eyes. "It's just a start. With your creativity and my experience, we can make this work." Our discussions grew more ambitious, filled with dreams of expansion and innovation. We contacted local businesses, offering partnership deals and exploring new markets. The community responded positively, and our reputation for reliable service and beautiful flowers flourished. One evening, as we were closing up shop, Nathan turned to me with a serious expression. "Lillian, I want you to know something. This isn't just about business for me. It's about helping you find your way, and maybe finding mine too." I was touched by his sincerity, feeling a lump form in my throat. "Thank you, Nathan. This means more to me than you know. I'm grateful for your support and guidance." He smiled, his eyes warm. "We're in this together, and I have no doubt we'll make it work." As the weeks turned into months, our venture continued to grow. We faced obstacles and setbacks, but we tackled them head-on, our bond growing stronger with each challenge. Nathan's gruff exterior softened, revealing a mentor and friend who believed in our shared vision. One day, we received a call from a local news station interested in featuring our unique business. the reporter, a young woman named Emily, arrived at the garage with a cameraman in tow, eager to learn about our journey. "This is such a fascinating concept," Emily said, setting up her microphone. "How did you come up with the idea?" Nathan and I exchanged a smile before I answered. "It started with a breakdown. My van needed repairs, and I ended up at Nathan's garage. We bonded over the repair process and realized we had complementary skills. The idea to combine roadside assistance with flower deliveries grew from there." Emily's eyes sparkled with interest. "And how has the community responded?" Nathan stepped in, his voice steady and confident. "The response has been overwhelmingly positive. People appreciate the personal touch and the combination of practical service with something beautiful. It's more than just fixing cars, it's about making someone's day a little brighter." The interview went well, and the news feature brought us even more attention. Our phone rang constantly, and our schedule filled up with new clients eager to experience our service. As the sun set on another successful day, Nathan and I stood outside the garage, watching the fading light. The future felt bright, filled with endless possibilities. "Nathan, we've built something incredible," I said, feeling a deep sense of gratitude. He nodded, his eyes reflecting the golden hues of the sunset. "We have, Lillian, and it's only going to get better." Our new venture had not only transformed our lives but also brought joy and assistance to countless others. Together we had created something unique, a testament to the power of collaboration and the magic of unexpected encounters. The morning sun cast a golden glow over the garage as Nathan and I prepared for another busy day. Our little business had gained quite the reputation, and the community's support was heartwarming, but now it was time to take the next step in building our dream. "Nathan, I've been thinking about our expansion," I said, unrolling the blueprint he had shown me weeks earlier. "It's time we make this plan a reality." He looked up from under the hood of a car, wiping his hands on a grease-stained rag. "I'm with you, Lillian. We've been getting more calls than we can handle with just one van. We need to grow to keep up." We started by scouting for a new location to serve as our central hub. After days of searching, we found the perfect spot, a spacious warehouse on the edge of town, with plenty of room for additional vans and a small workshop. It was affordable and had potential. "Just imagine," I said, standing in the middle of the empty space. "We could set up workstations here, store parts over there, and have a dedicated area for flower arrangements." Nathan nodded, his eyes scanning the warehouse. "It's got good bones. With a little work, we can turn this into something great." Our first task was to renovate the space. We hired a local contractor, but Nathan and I spent countless hours painting walls, installing shelves, and setting up workbenches. It was exhausting but fulfilling work. One afternoon, while I was arranging tools on a newly installed pegboard, Nathan approached with a thoughtful expression. "Lillian, we need to talk about hiring some help. We can't do everything ourselves, especially if we're going to run multiple vans." I nodded, wiping sweat from my forehead. "I agree. We need mechanics who share our values and florists who understand our vision. Do you have anyone in mind?" He scratched his chin. "I've got a couple of buddies from back in the day who might be interested. They're good with cars and trustworthy. As for the florists, maybe we can put out an ad and see who bites." We spent the next few days interviewing candidates. Nathan's friends, Joe and Mike, fit right in. They were skilled mechanics with a passion for cars and a work ethic that matched Nathan's. For the florist position, we met several candidates, but one stood out. A young woman named Claire with a genuine love for flowers and a creative touch that impressed us both. "Welcome to the team," I said, shaking Claire's hand after her interview. "We're excited to have you on board." She beamed. "Thank you so much. I can't wait to get started." With our team in place, we focused on acquiring additional vans. Nathan and Joe scoured auctions and junkyards, finding old vehicles with potential. Mike and I worked on transforming them into mobile repair units, just like our original van. Claire added her floral touch, making sure each van carried a selection of fresh flowers. The day finally came when we launched our expanded service. We had 3 fully equipped vans ready to hit the road. We stood outside the warehouse, a mix of nerves and excitement buzzing in the air. "Here we go," Nathan said, handing me the keys to one of the new vans. "You ready for this?" I took the keys, feeling a surge of confidence. Absolutely. Let's show everyone what we've got. Our first week was a whirlwind of activity. The new mechanics handled repairs with ease, and Claire's floral arrangements added a special touch that our clients loved. We tackled everything from dead batteries to flat tires, all while delivering beautiful bouquets that brightened people's days. One memorable call was from a bride-to-be whose car broke down on her way to the church. We received the call with just enough time to help. "Don't worry," I assured her over the phone. "We're on our way." When we arrived, Nathan quickly diagnosed the problem, a faulty alternator. As he worked on the repair, I offered the bride a bouquet of white lilies and roses. "These are for you," I said, handing her the flowers. "A little something to calm your nerves." She smiled, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "Thank you so much. You've saved my wedding day." By the end of the week, our success was evident. The community's response was overwhelming, and our bookings continued to grow. We were no longer just a quirky roadside assistance and flower delivery service. We were a valued part of the community, providing practical help with a touch of beauty. One evening, as we closed up the warehouse, Nathan and I sat on a couple of stools, reflecting on our journey. "You know, Lillian," he began, his voice thoughtful. "When you first showed up at my garage, I never imagined we'd come this far. It's been quite a ride." I smiled, feeling a deep sense of accomplishment. "It has. And we're just getting started. There's so much more we can do." He raised an eyebrow. "Got any more big ideas?" I laughed. "Always. But for now, I think we should focus on perfecting what we've built. Make sure every repair, every flower delivery is the best it can be." Nathan nodded, a hint of a smile on his lips. "Agreed. Here's to building the dream, one step at a time." As we sat there, the warehouse filled with the scent of flowers and the faint echo of our laughter, I felt a profound sense of purpose. Our business was more than just a service. It was a testament to the power of hard work, collaboration, and the unexpected paths life can take. The following weeks were a period of fine-tuning and growth. We implemented feedback from our clients, optimized our workflow, and invested in additional training for our team. Nathan's friends, Joe and Mike, quickly adapted to our unique service model, and Claire's floral arrangements became increasingly popular. She even began offering custom orders for special occasions, which added a personal touch to our deliveries. One afternoon, Claire approached me with a new idea. "Lillian, I've been thinking. What if we offered a subscription service for flowers? We could deliver fresh arrangements to people's homes or offices on a regular basis." I considered the proposal, intrigued. "That's a fantastic idea, Claire. It would provide a steady stream of income and keep our name in people's minds. Let's discuss it with Nathan." When we presented the idea to Nathan, he was immediately on board. "It's a great way to expand our offerings and build stronger relationships with our clients. Let's get it rolling." We launched the subscription service with a promotional event at a local community center. We set up a booth showcasing our services, with samples of Claire's beautiful arrangements and demonstrations of our mobile repair capabilities. The turnout was impressive, and by the end of the day, we had signed up several new subscribers. As we packed up, Nathan looked around satisfied. "This was a good move, Lillian. The community really values what we're doing." I nodded, feeling a sense of pride. It's because we care about more than just the service. We care about the people. That's what sets us apart. As our business grew, so did our need for more space and better equipment. We reinvested our profits into upgrading the warehouse, purchasing new tools, and even adding a small lounge area where clients could wait comfortably while we worked on their cars. It was all part of creating a welcoming and efficient environment. One evening after a long day, Nathan and I were discussing our future plans over a cup of coffee in the lounge. "Nathan, we should think about branding. A logo, a website, maybe even some social media presence. It'll help us reach more people and build a stronger identity." He sipped his coffee, nodding thoughtfully. "I've never been much for that kind of stuff, but you're right. It's important. Do you have any ideas?" I pulled out my notebook, which was filled with sketches and notes. "I've been working on a few concepts. How about a logo that combines a wrench and a flower? It represents both sides of our business perfectly." Nathan looked at the sketches, his eyes lighting up. "That's clever. Let's get someone to make it official. We hired a local graphic designer to bring our vision to life. The new logo, a stylized wrench intertwined with a blooming flower, was a hit. We launched our website and social media pages, and the response was overwhelmingly positive. People loved the blend of practicality and beauty our brand represented. With our online presence established, we began receiving inquiries from neighboring towns. Our reputation was spreading, and it was clear that there was a demand for our unique service beyond our local area. "Nathan, it's time to think about expanding geographically," I said one morning as we reviewed our growing list of clients. "We could set up satellite locations in nearby towns, maybe even franchising eventually." He raised an eyebrow, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. "You never stop dreaming, do you? I like that. Let's start with one new location and see how it goes." We scouted potential locations and settled on a town about an hour away. It was a similar community to ours, with a mix of urban and rural areas, and we felt confident that our service would be well received. Setting up the new location was both exciting and challenging. We hired local mechanics and florists, trained them in our service model, and replicated the setup of our original warehouse. The process brought back memories of our early days, reminding us of how far we'd come. On the opening day of our new location, Nathan and I were there to oversee everything. The turnout was impressive, and the community welcomed us with open arms. As we mingled with the crowd, explaining our services and handing out sample bouquets, I felt a deep sense of satisfaction. As the sun set on our new location's successful launch, I realized that our dream was no longer just a vision. It was a thriving reality built on hard work, mutual respect, and the magic of an unexpected encounter. The dawn of our next chapter arrived with a crisp, clear morning, the air filled with the scent of fresh flowers and the distant hum of car engines. Standing in front of our original warehouse, now bustling with activity and adorned with our new logo, I felt a mix of excitement and anticipation. Today was the grand opening of our third location, and it marked a significant milestone in our journey. Nathan pulled up in one of our newly branded vans, the white paint gleaming in the sunlight. He stepped out, adjusting his worn baseball cap and flashing me a grin. "Ready for the big day, Lillian?" I smiled back, feeling a surge of confidence. "Absolutely. This is what we've been working towards." We spent the morning at our flagship location, ensuring everything was running smoothly before heading to the new site. The buzz of our employees, the chatter of customers, and the sight of Claire arranging flowers in the lounge area filled me with pride. Our dream had grown beyond the confines of our first garage, and the community had embraced us wholeheartedly. As we drove to the new location, Nathan and I reflected on our journey. "Remember when you first showed up at my garage with that broken-down van?" Nathan mused, his eyes on the road. I laughed, the memory vivid. I was so desperate and had no idea what to expect. I never imagined it would lead to all this. He nodded, a thoughtful expression on his face. "It's funny how things work out. Sometimes the best things come from the most unexpected places." The new location was a picturesque town nestled between rolling hills, with a community known for its strong support of local businesses. We had chosen this spot carefully, knowing it was the perfect place to expand our unique blend of roadside assistance and flower delivery. When we arrived, the sight of the new facility took my breath away. It was a sleek, modern building with large windows that let in plenty of natural light. Our logo was prominently displayed on the front, and a beautiful garden of colorful flowers greeted us at the entrance, courtesy of Claire's expertise. We were greeted by our new team, a group of enthusiastic mechanics and florists who had been rigorously trained in our methods and values. Among them was Emma, a talented florist, whose creativity and passion rivaled Claire's, and Jake, a mechanic with a knack for diagnostics and a calm, reassuring demeanor. "Welcome everyone," I said, addressing the team. "Today marks the beginning of a new chapter for all of us. We've built something special, and now we have the opportunity to share it with a new community. Let's make this place just as successful as our first location." The grand opening event was a huge success. The townspeople came out in droves, curious to see what we were all about. We had set up stations where people could watch our mechanics in action, get free car diagnostics, and receive sample flower arrangements. There was even a kids' corner where they could plant their own flowers to take home. Nathan and I made our rounds, talking to visitors and answering questions. As the day wound down and the crowd began to thin, Nathan and I took a moment to ourselves, sitting on a bench in the garden. The sun was setting, casting a warm glow over the flowers. "I think we did good today," Nathan said, breaking the comfortable silence. I nodded, feeling a deep sense of contentment. We did. And this is just the start. There's so much more we can do, so many more people we can help. He looked at me, his expression serious but kind. "You've got big dreams, Lillian, and I'm glad to be part of them." I smiled, grateful for his support and friendship. "I couldn't have done it without you, Nathan. Here's to many more new beginnings." Over the next few weeks, we settled into a routine at the new location. Emma's floral creations became a local favorite, and Jake's expertise earned us a reputation for reliability and excellence. Our client base grew steadily, and the feedback was overwhelmingly positive. One evening, as we were closing up shop, Emma approached me with an idea. "Lillian, I've been thinking about hosting a community workshop. We could teach people basic car maintenance and flower arranging. It would be a great way to connect with the community and share our skills." I loved the idea immediately. "That's brilliant, Emma. Let's plan it for next month. It'll be a wonderful way to give back and show people what we're all about." The workshop was a hit. We had a full house with participants ranging from young children to seniors. Nathan led the car maintenance session, teaching people how to check their oil, change a tire, and perform other basic tasks. Emma and I ran the flower arranging workshop, guiding attendees through creating their own beautiful bouquets. As I watched Nathan patiently explain the intricacies of an engine to a group of eager listeners and saw the joy on people's faces as they crafted their floral masterpieces, I felt a profound sense of fulfillment. Our business was thriving not just because of what we did, but because of how we connected with people. Late that night, after everyone had left and the building was quiet, Nathan and I sat in the lounge, reflecting on the day's events. "I think today was one of our best days yet," I said, sipping a cup of tea. Nathan nodded in agreement. "It's days like this that remind me why we do what we do. We're not just fixing cars or delivering flowers. We're building a community." I looked around, taking in the space that had become so much more than just a workplace. "Nathan, this is more than a business. It's a new beginning for all of us." He smiled, a rare sight that always warmed my heart, and I wouldn't have it any other way. As we sat there, the future felt bright and full of promise. Our journey had been filled with unexpected challenges and triumphs, and I knew there were many more ahead. But with Nathan by my side and a team that shared our vision, I was ready for whatever came next.